I want to point you to something that I hear all the time. Well, so and so, or that one guy came over and he gave me an estimate. Okay, and what did he say? Well, he said XXX, 60,000, whatever. But he never went in the attic. Did he go in the crawl space? He didn't go in the crawl space. Well, then how in the world does he know? How does he know what it's going to cost? At D-Row Renovations, we guide homeowners with a clear and steady process. The next part of our process that we're going to discuss is a professional scope of work. You might say, what is that? Why do I need that? Well, I'm fixing to tell you. We need to understand what's really going on with the house and what it is that you really want to do. If you want to modify a kitchen and you want to remove a wall, well, we need to really dig in deep and understand where we're going to put that load path. If we're going to take that wall out and that wall's holding up a second story floor, which and then in turn holding up a second story ceiling, which also holds up a second story roof, you can see where I'm going with this. We've got to dig in and find out how it is that we can do this and do it in such a way that it's going to remain stable for a multitude of years, for as long as the house is there. Now, a professional scope of work is not a sales call. It's detailed investigation where we're going to take a look at various different components of your home, the electrical system, the plumbing system, the framing system. We're not going to be able to see it all. There's going to be a lot of things that are covered up and hidden, but we're still going to do our best to find out all the information that we can so that we can create what is known as a professional scope of work. So in order to do this, we're going to have to get involved. We're going to have to get in the crawl space in the attic. We're going to have to look at HVAC system, how the mechanicals run. We're going to need to know how the electrical system's operating, what the service is. Are there any sub panels? Are the smoke detectors up to code? Do you have all the correct safety requirements? Are you moving the stove, the refrigerator, the sink, the dishwasher, any of these items? Are we swapping out walls that our vanities are on? Are we deleting a soaker tub and installing a shower? All of these things matter, and all of these things need a little bit of more information than just a normal sales visit. And that's why we charge for a professional scope of work. I want to point you to something that I hear all the time. Well, so and so, or that one guy came over and he gave me an estimate. Okay, and what did he say? Well, he said XXX, 60,000, whatever. But he never went in the attic. Did he go in the crawl space? He didn't go in the crawl space. Well, then how in the world does he know? How does he know what it's going to cost? How could anyone possibly know? I can answer that. They can't. So they're guessing. So guess what? Now we're going to look at change orders because of the vague language in your scope of work. Did that scope of work actually talk about adding a pier in the crawl space to support that load that you're fixing to change? Nope. We do the best we can for our customers to protect us, to protect them, and we want to make sure that we have all the information so that we can give you an actual proper, correct estimate. It's so much easier than it is later stopping the job because we can't do it without your permission, so we got to get a change order. And then there's the timeline that gets all screwed up. We forgot to go in the crawl space and look to make sure that there was actually support there. Or worse, we just go ahead and change the load pattern and then don't put the support there. See, sometimes that happens too. How would you even know? As a homeowner, how would you know? Inspector's not going to catch that. Almost undoubtedly, he won't catch that. He might not. So then I ask you, would you rather take the time up front to do a professional scope of work and find out what it would cost to put that pier in the basement or the crawl space or whatever we're talking about ahead of time so that you know? Or would you rather just it be a complete surprise when you found out that he needed it and didn't put it in, and 3 years later the drywall's all cracked and you can't figure out why the floor is crooked? It's your call.